In this lesson, we're going to just do a little bit of housekeeping and a couple of little checks before we get into our formula stuff. So I'm just back here at my recent files kind of desktop here in Revit. So I'm going to go back and pick this project 3 that I've been kind of working in with my couple of prop walls and some symbols in there. And I just want to go back in and have a little review of the types and the values of the type parameters and the instance parameters, some general information. So once again, we can pick any one of these and say edit family. We go into that 3D family. So inside of there, I'm going to go to my views and my floor plan and go to my reference view. Again, the symbol is inserted flat down as if it was on an elevation of the object, but yet it shows up in a plan view. So the other thing I'm going to do is close off the 3D view. So I'm going to go and pick this close hidden windows right now, or I can go to view and say close hidden. And what that's going to do is close the extra windows. So now when I go to switch windows, I've got the project file in one window because I'm going to do some tiling here, and I've got in my drop down here again, I've taken this and added these two, this one and this one, to my quick access toolbar with a right click, puts them over here. So I can go back to here, okay, and I've only got one view inside of there. Now I'm going to take that guy and I'm going to say edit family and go into the symbol annotation family. Okay, and now I'm going to tile my view. So I'm going to go to either view and hit tile there, or do I have it listed here? I don't. So I can right click and say add to quick access toolbar. It adds it to here. Click. Okay, tiles those views. So I can go into this, which is the kind of the in-between level, and while you're in here, the values of these properties and family types are dependent on which file you're in, right? You won't get the same thing here because this isn't the family editor. This is the project editor, more or less. These are family editors. So inside of here, if I pick on there, I want to go back in and just have another look. And when we're loading and reloading these families into the nested family and the family into the project, we just want to pay attention to the type pull down here as we create and add new types. We just sometimes want to go in and review that the GFI, has these default values set inside of here, and the 220 volt has these set inside of here. Notice that none of them have the above millwork turned on, and then the standard. Okay, and the label is the only one that's occupied is our GFCI one. Now you'll notice the word default in here. Okay, when the word default is in here, the best indicator that is really to what it signifies is the fact that it is a instance parameter. This is a type parameter because it doesn't say default, and if you go modify, you're going to see that it's a type parameter. Okay, which means that if you change this value in the project, it's going to change all of the instances of this type in the project. If it says default and you hit modify, you'll notice it is, oops, sorry, I didn't change my field. If you pick on here and you go to modify, you'll notice it says here instance. So it's an instance parameter. So you can tell at a glance in here when you're looking, if it has the word default in brackets, it means that it is an instance parameter, which means that you can change it on any individual element in here and it won't change the other ones. If you change a type value in the project, it's going to change all the copies of that type, which might be what you want, or it might be, as you can see, some things we want flexible per element, some of them we don't. We want them to be type driven. So just always get familiar with looking at these and changing these, and as you are working and you want to check, you can always go in here and say GFI. If you hit apply, it'll show you that version. If you go into here and hit 220 and hit apply, it'll show you that version. If you go in here and hit standard and hit apply, it's going to show you that version. So you can kind of flex it in here and try checking these off and playing with them and see what happens. We can make standard have, the label anything you want. And then hit apply and it'll just put that in there. So, you could have that and make that a type and just save it and load it in. And then if you change it to say standard, the label will say hello instead. So you can just plug in a predetermined value in there. I'm just going to leave it blank and hit apply, put that back in. So these are different ways of flexing and checking. It really depends on the what type of parameter you have, and you can always check by going into modify here. So having said that, I can hit OK. I don't think I did anything too serious in there. Now at this level in the annotation family, this is a little bit different. If we go into here and we go to the create and we hit our family types dialog box, we're going to get something similar. It's the properties and or parameters of this family. But the difference here is if you turn these on and off and hit apply, it actually doesn't turn them on and off at this level. It usually just kind of grays them out, and it depends. I'm just going to hit cancel here and type TL. Make sure that my thin lines is not on. Okay, move that over a little bit. Go back to my family types dialog box. See if I say WP on, if I take this off and hit apply, it actually doesn't disappear. It actually kind of turns gray. And if I hit above millwork, okay, the weatherproof or the waterproof are the half moons, and then the above millwork is our little circle. And if I hit apply, they stay on, and I hit OK. Okay, but actually they're kind of gray. You can't really tell, but you can kind of see actually it does show it gray there. So when the visibility is turned off in an annotation family like this, it doesn't actually disappear, as opposed to here when you hit apply, it actually makes the change from the nested annotation. So while you're in this family, when you go into here, as you change these values, it's not quite the same. The text will change if you change the text. Actually, I shouldn't say that. That's what it's going to say when it goes into when it gets loaded in. To change the text, you have to pick the label, and then if you hit edit label, there's some sample text, and this is where you could actually put the word hello in there, and then it would show up. Okay, and that's just, again, a sample. So we can pick on there, and I think I'll just leave that with the letter capital letter A as our sample placeholder. Okay, so once again, inside of here, as you change these, it doesn't turn them off, it kind of grays them out. So I just want to have them all turned on so they're nice and black. So my weatherproofing, waterproofing, however you want it. Above millwork, notice it says default. It's an instance parameter. So is this one. And 220 volt, turn it on. My label is going to be, I'm going to leave it blank. Hit apply, hit OK. Now I could take this and say load into project. Once again, I don't load it to the project. I actually load it to this family. Hit OK. Overwrite the existing. I don't want to overwrite the parameters, but this is where when you pick one of these, you definitely want to go back into here and just kind of make sure that these are correct inside of here. Okay, so we really didn't do anything. Can hit apply. I turn my thin lines on and off, TL on the keyboard, and then take this guy and then load it into there. So we're just kind of doing a little bit of a review of your parameters, etc. Overwrite existing version. And really nothing is transpired. So just kind of pay attention to those parameters and the values and the types and stuff like that. So now our challenge is the fact that when we want to create a little formula so that if the above millwork switch is on, that this label disappears and a different label that's moved up higher. So we actually use a little smoke and mirrors. We have two labels, one that is on if this is off, and one that is off, and the other one is on when this is on. So it's going to talk to the whether this above millwork switch is on or off, and it's going to tell which label to view with a little, very small little formula. So, and that will also affect over here. You can see where when it's sideways, it kind of comes into play. This one's not too bad just because of the way the text is, but this one would definitely work. We need to bump that out. So we'll come back and show you how to do that. And with that lesson, you can expand upon it in a lot of different ways.